We both lie silently still in the end of the night. Though we both lie close together, we feel miles apart inside. Was it something I said or something I did? Did my words not come out right? Though I try not to hurt you, though I try. But I guess that's why they say, battlers, every rose has its thorn. Sing it with me, battlers. Just like every night has its dawns. Just like every battler sings a sad, sad song. Every Friday night seems to suck. How we doing, battlers? How we doing? Welcome to another episode of the United Podcast Match Rewind Edition, brought to you by our great mates at A+ Contracting and Polywelding. When it comes to hard work, battlers, and getting the job done right, none do it better than our good mates at A+ Contracting and Polywelding. Just like our mighty Newcastle Knights, our NRLW Newcastle Knights leave it out in the field every single week. A+ Contracting brings that same level of dedication to the mining and civil projects industry. They're the experts you need for professional, cost-effective, and comprehensive contracting services. They do the hard work, battlers, so you don't have to. Well, battlers, another humongous cathartic episode. And you know what? We're going live without a net tonight, Lou. I have absolutely no notes. I am just sitting here in absolute disarray. I'm feeling crook. I'm coming down with something. I've been fighting off the flu. I don't know whether that's been induced by my rugby league team just being absolutely pumped into the core of the earth by the 4-time premiers.
Screw it. We'll do it live.
Screw it. We're going live. Yep, it's one of those shows tonight, battlers. Anything goes. Truly, anything can happen tonight. It's look at me. I'm coming in singing a song. I probably butchered the lyrics. I don't even know what's going on, battlers. I don't know what's going on. It's going to be another crazy episode, though. That's right, with the Newcastle Knights, unfortunately, getting absolutely pummeled by the 4-time premiers, the Penrith Panthers, at home at McDonald Jones Stadiums. And just to add insult into injury, it wasn't just tears falling from our eyes. No, the rugby league gods opened up the heavens and just showered the poor old battlers out there at Mac Jones Stadium, witnessing that as the Penrith Panthers carved us to pieces from start to finish. It was just an absolute onslaught. We're going to get into that. But before that, we're going to take a look at this week's United news, as well as me anointing my Paycat United Players of the Week, your Titanium Forge Player of the Week, as well as answering some of your burning questions. If you've got any questions left, we're in August football. If you've got any questions, fire them on in. Well, let's do it. Let's jump into this week's episode. So, battlers, sit back and get ready as we take a look at the Adam O'Briens and outs of this week's absolute onslaught at McDonald Jones Stadiums at the hands of the Panthers. Let's go. All right. Well, first things first this week, and apologies if I sound a little bit crazy, if I'm a little bit out of sorts, because I genuinely am. I don't know if I'm high on cough serum. I don't know whether it's this vaccine that's pumped through my body that doesn't seem to be doing anything, because I've been fighting this virus, Lou, like anything. And maybe it's just the Newcastle Knights having 48 points put on them has just tipped me over the edge.
Yeah, didn't you and our daughter didn't do well with that virus flu jab, did you?
No, it's I don't know if I got a dud. I don't know what it's doing. It's turned against me, battlers. So yeah, I've you're probably watching the Knights watch. I was doing everything I can not to cough into the mic all night. I don't know if it was me just swearing into the microphone constantly. Probably didn't help that cause, but we'll persevere tonight. We'll persevere. So, but look, first things first this week, brought to you by Newcastle Mixed Martial Arts, which is Newcastle, Lake Macquarie's and the Hunters' highest rated mixed martial arts gym with more than 350 Google 5-star reviews. Beginners are welcomed and encouraged into their safe, inclusive, and most importantly, fun training center. Head coach Jess Langer's experience includes being directly trained by UFC veterans, as well as under the wrestling coach of the Sydney Roosters. Newcastle Mixed Martial Arts is centrally located in Cardiff, right beside the Cardiff train station, offering day and night classes for kids, teens, and adults, including Muay Thai kickboxing, gi, and no-gi Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. So make sure you go book your free trial by visiting their website at newcastlemma.com.au. I tell you what, this virus has gone and taken some classes at Newcastle Mixed Martial Arts because it's kicking my ass at the moment. So Jess has done a number on that virus. It's coming in. It's a black belt virus I'm up against, and I'm losing the fight. I'm well and truly losing the fight.
Hashtag man flu.
Hashtag, oh yeah, don't get me started on the man flu. Don't you dare joke about the man flu around here. All right, battlers, if you're enjoying the live stream, make sure you give it a big old thumbs up. It'll make you feel a bit better. I know we're all a bit down in the dumps, but your boy Link's trying to pump your tires up tonight. So make sure you give it a big old thumbs up wherever you're wasting your time. I tell you what, whatever social media platform that is, I guarantee you we are there. My head is going to be popping up somewhere about there. So make sure you go and like, follow, subscribe, all that good stuff. X, YouTube, Facebook, Insta, you name it, we're there. Make sure you're going to go follow us on all social media platforms. It really does help us out. Battlers. All right, let's do it. Let's jump into this week's United news. And that's it. Our boy Tyson Frizzell is expected to be signing for one more year. He's going to get the farewell tour like our boy Dan Gagai. Nothing official has come out yet, but an article in the Newcastle Herald suggesting that there will be an announcement made shortly to keep the 33-year-old prop forward at the Knights to finish his career, which I think at this point in time we all love seeing. We all love seeing what we're seeing from Tyson. I think much like Dan Gagai, we want to keep these guys in the building. Prop forwards are certainly an area which we need bolstering, and we couldn't let a guy like Tyson out of the building. So it's going to be great to see him farewell his time in the NRL with the Newcastle Knights. We know he made his way, I think it was 2020 or 21, when he announced that he was coming to the club. A huge coup at the time. Huge coup for the club. He's been absolutely dynamic, obviously shifting from that right edge back row spot up until recently playing in the middle, bit of lock forward there, coming off the bench recently, doing a bit of damage there. So I think we can all collectively agree that this has been a really good signing. I don't think there's I haven't sort of read anywhere numbers or figures exactly on what the contract value is. But look, I'm sure it's not going to be breaking the bank. It's going to be good for both parties. So we get the Tyson Frizzell farewell tour in 2026. Now, more news. I swear we're talking about this guy more and more and more. Trey Mooney, battlers. Trey Mooney. Not only is he toured the Knights facilities, there is nothing official confirmed, but everywhere I read, there has been a 3-year contract offer between between 500 and 600. So about 550 mark seems to be the figure floating around, a 3-year contract. Now, I believe St. George Dragons and the Eels are also very interested, but I think we were always in the box seat to get it. I know I was certainly always confident if he was going to leave the Raiders, he was going to land with the Knights. So expect, if I was a betting man, I'm thinking he's coming. I am thinking he's coming. There is way too much smoke in the building for there not to be a bit of a Trey Mooney fire. And what did you say, Lou, before we went live, as a bit of an omen to Trey Mooney coming?
Yeah, big new moon out the front.
Big old full Trey Mooney outside. So if that's not an omen, I don't know what is. But look, plenty to get excited about Trey Mooney. I think we all can collectively agree he will be the guy if he comes, when he comes. 2026, he'll step up and take that spot vacated by Leo Thompson. Unfortunately, he was off to the Bulldogs, signed that contract. I think it was December 2024. It was December, I think it was, in before during the off season. But yeah, so I think this is going to be a really good get, one that a lot of Raid supporters do not want to lose, but they're in that balancing act. Do they want to? Their most capped Raider, their hero, Josh Papali'i, still playing representative level football at this age. Do they want to let him walk out of the building and give him, the send-off we're going to give Tyson Frizzell and Dane Gagai? Well, that's going to come at the expense of Trey Mooney. So this is the balancing act that, these recruiters face, isn't it? You can't keep them all. I know he is contracted to the Raiders, but they've let him to go explore options elsewhere. So, yeah, luckily for us, I think next week or the coming weeks, we'll get an announcement that our boy Trey Mooney is coming down to the Newcastle Knights. So keep your eyes peeled now all year. All year we're going to ask, who's coming, Link? Who's coming? Who's off contract? Blah, blah, blah. Well, this is what happens. This is what happens. You get your stuff out of the blue. Circumstances change with clubs. Players stick around for, guys that were thinking about retiring no longer retire. And, it's a balancing act. And some guys, unfortunately, just get shaken out of the roster or they agitate their way out. And clubs like us come in and swoop in. So, let's hope this does come to be. I think he's a really good, young, promising forward who will come in and do a really good job for us alongside Jacob Saifidi. So keep your eyes peeled for that one. Battlers. All right. Well, that'll round out this week's Knighted news. Let's do it. I've been procrastinating enough. Now, look, Ballas, I'm going to start this. I am going to start this review by saying I have absolutely zero notes. Zero. I have quickly gone back and watched the 9 tries that the Penrith Panthers scored on us, because let's be honest, I don't know. It wasn't even a game where you're looking at it and going, okay, if we could have tied it up here, we could have tied it up there. If we did just this a little better, it was just completely all over the park. We were completely and utterly dominated. You could be here for 3 hours talking about all the things that we did wrong. It was just one of those nights where it just from the get-go. What did Lindsay Smith score in the first 3 minutes? Backed up again, I think Luke Gardner. So they got 2 tries in the space of 10 minutes there, and it was just completely and utterly downhill. 26-0 at halftime. And they were just scoring points for fun. And it was in all different fashion, all across the park. It wasn't like they found a weakness in the Knights in one spot and just focused all their attack down there. They just had joy wherever they went, just straight out of the blocks. We never looked in it, which was super disheartening. I know all season we've talked about the clunkiness and the discombobulation and the disconnection and the lack of synergy in attack. But what we could somewhat rest our season on was we were always very steely in defense. But geez, that was the worst defensive effort we have seen. And I know you're going up against the best of the best. The 4-time premiers, they're back in the top 4 now. They're a much different club than what they were, in March, April. They have got their shit together and they have rocketed right up the competition ladder. But, geez, it was disappointing. So many soft efforts. Just some of the tackles they were breaking, just the defensive reads immediately from the get-go. Shout out to everyone who tuned in for the Night's Watch. I think we just knew we were in for a long night pretty bloody quickly. Pretty quick. They say rain is the great equalizer. Maybe the rugby league gods have tried to stem the bleeding for the Newcastle Knights and just opened up the heavens. And shout out to you guys for all the battlers who went along that game. Holy dooly. We're sitting there watching on TV. When it looks that heavy on TV, you can guarantee it's 10 times worse in person. I was at that, obviously, the Magic Round game when the heavens opened up for that. I've never seen rain that heavy before. I swear the raindrops were like bloody tennis ball size. It just absolutely came down, and we got a little bit of reprieve there. It was about 10 minutes in the second half or so. We established some sort of momentum and started doing something, but as quickly as that came, it was dashed. The Panthers got back onto it once more and just did what they did best and suffocated us out of the game and completely and utterly dominated us, which is going to lead me to the first point, because this pains me to do this, battlers. The team statistics for this game is just something like I've never seen. For those, again, who tuned in during the Night's Watch live stream that I did, reading out the halftime stats was just mind-blowing. It was so completely and utterly one-sided. It was crazy. So if you haven't done so, sit back, all right? Brace yourself, all right? Don't be operating heavy machinery or anything like that when I'm going to read these stats out, all right? So this is you might want to pull over your car or do something like get somewhere, get in a safe space before we go reading out some of these stats. All right, the Newcastle Knights with only 40% possession, with 60% to the Penrith Panthers, which is absolutely astronomical. You think it's 10%. 10% is absolutely humongous in a game of rugby league football. Time in possession, 23 for the Knights, 34 minutes for the Penrith Panthers, a lowly 70% completion rate, 88%. Not only did the Penrith Panthers manage to have the ball 60% of the time, they completed it 88% in those conditions, which is just goes to show you they are on a different level, completely different level. Like, for a team to have the ball that much and still complete that high in those conditions, boy, oh boy. Penrith Panthers, 226 runs for 2,119 meters. The Newcastle Knights only 153. So what's that? 70 less runs and only managed 1,282. So again, they just about got us by about 900 run meters, which in crazy. Post-contact meters, 700 to 500, 9 line breaks to 1. Going back to what we were saying, just some of the poor reads in defense, just physicality in defense. We're just falling off tackles, which was really disappointing. So 9 line breaks there. 37 tackle breaks to our 32. What else have I got here? 275 kick return meters to our 145. 11 lot flows to our 5, which was so disappointing. Remind me, I'm going to go back to offloads in a second. What else have we got here? Kick defusal, 45% for the Knights. I know, Greggy again had an unfortunate night under the high ball once more for the Newcastle Knights. What more can I say? I swear there was another big one that I was going to read out. I can't see. 17 errors to the Newcastle Knights, only 9 for the Penny Panthers also. Knights conceding 6 penalties. The Penrith Panthers only 1. So very well-oiled, disciplined side who have just warmed up and just peaking at the right time, aren't they? They are just absolutely killing it at the moment. And as I was saying, right from the get-go, we knew we were in trouble. It looked very soft. And but yeah, now going back to what I was saying on the roster review show. Now, you guys are regulars here. You tuned into the roster review show, and I was saying, well, how do we beat the Penrith Panthers? I even sound like a bigger, crazier person now, don't I, Lou? Here was I saying, everyone's saying, you're fucking crazy. How the fuck are you going to beat this Panthers team?
Get the tinfoil hat off.
Oh, God. Well, I was saying, we can't play them the way they play. There's that structured block shape, all that kind of stuff. Throw it out the window. We're not going to beat them that way. We're going to be bolder than that. We're going to try something a bit different. Short, flat, fast, short side raids, kicking early, all that stuff. And we didn't do that for the first half. I know we didn't have much of our opportunities, but we didn't do any of that. And then that little reprieve that we did, we started playing in a little bit of that, and we got a bit of joy. And I'm just sitting there going, what are we doing? Why is it taking till this length? You're down 26 points, and you got 1 half left of football against the 4-time reigning premiers. Now you got rain to contend with, so it's not even going to play fast track football now. And it's just doing my head in. We're just literally playing into the Panthers' strength. They could just see everything. We did nothing. We did absolutely nothing to scare them. Didn't ask any questions to the defense. Just made it look so easy. It looked like a training drill for them. They barely got out of first gear, the Panthers, which was just pulling my hair out, because we saw glimpses of it where we played a little bit of that and we got a little bit of joy. And we saw the Titans do that the week before. They got a lead against the Panthers from doing exactly that. But let's do it. Let's get into some positive. Let's get into it. Your Titanium Forge Player of the Week, Battlers, this week goes to none other than our boy, Jermaine McEwen. And my God, what an absolutely deserved winner he was this week. He was absolutely, I think he was absolutely incredible. Parked up on that left edge there with Brady back. He was doing all kinds of things. I've kept saying it about our boy Jermaine McEwen. He plays with confidence, and I love it. I know sometimes he might do something that might necessarily work or whatever, but what I do like is I like seeing young players play with confidence and who back themselves. They might make an error, but it doesn't matter. They put that aside and they just keep doing what they're doing. And I must have said it 100 times, Lou, on the Night's Watch. He passes the eye test. He just looks good. It's just that intangible thing that you watch a football player. Maybe the stats don't blow you off the page or anything like that, but you just see these rugby league players occasionally, and they just pass the eye test. He looks fast. He looks fit. He looks strong. The physicality's there. He's a massive competitor. I love what he's bringing. It must be something in the water in the McEwen house, because his sister Evie killed it for our NRLW side. She bagged 2 tries as well. But yeah, I thought he was great. He was a shining light in what was an otherwise pretty dour affair. For a guy that's played, 12, 13 NRL games, I think we've got a real good one, because we know Kai Pearce-Paul, he's going across to the West Tigers. We all love our boy Kai Pearce-Paul, but maybe now when you see some of these decisions made and you go, okay, you can kind of live with it now, because we're seeing more week after week what we got with the guy like Jermaine. And had we known what we know now, you might be so down about, God, Guy Pearce-Paul, he was a guy that had so much potential. We didn't unlock it, all this kind of stuff. When you got a guy like Jermaine, who we have locked up until 2027, I went and had a look at his contract situation. So I know someone was asking me during the live stream, how long we signed him up for. So he is locked up till 2027. I expect that to change. I certainly expect that to change. If not this season, next season. If he continues this run of form in the first couple of months in the 2026 season, there's going to be a contract extension. You can guarantee that. So I put out the tweet earlier that, you can rest easy knowing that the back row position for the Newcastle Knights look like they're in very good hands for a long time. We've got two guys that are very talented and have a lot of tomorrows in front of them.
Brenton said Evie got a double in the girls too.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. She was killing it. Absolutely killing it. So, yeah, we got some good ones there. So let's take a look at some of Jermaine's stats for this game. Where are you, Jermaine? Obviously played the 80 minutes there. He's bagged the try, 17 runs for 159 run meters, 53 post contact. He's got the 3 tackle breaks, 33 tackles, only the 2 missed, 3 errors, but I'm willing to look past those. One of them was, unfortunately, maybe he tried. If he dropped the ball, and if he only just got the toe to it, it would have been another great runaway try. That was unfortunate, but yeah, we got a good one here. And I think, if there was any doubt that he was going to be the guy that was going to be handed the keys to that right edge back row spot in 2026, that's all been dashed now. I think we can all sit there and go, yep, he's going to be the dude. You can have Dill Lucas one side, Jermaine McCure on the other, and just really young, eager, hungry, talented back rowers doing their thing out there. We've got a good one. He looks really, really good. I think everyone's excited about our boy Jermaine. I haven't seen a bad word spoken about him, and I won't have it on this show. All right, Lou? If there's any bad comments about our boy Jermaine, they get a warning. They get a warning because he was absolutely great. I think he was sensational.
The button's ready.
The button's ready. You've been warned, battlers. But yeah, I thought Jermaine was absolutely incredible this week as your LGB Marine Titanium Forge player, brought to you by LGB Marine, the experts in building resilience on and off the water. Just like the toughest structures they constructed, this week's player has been battle-tested, unshaken, and built to withstand anything. And that typifies Jermaine McEwen's sensational performance this week. Now, let's continue the trend. Let's take a look at my Paycat Knighted Players of the Week, brought to you by Paycat. Payroll made easy by a crew in Newey who know their stuff. Whether you're paying the boys on a construction site or sorting out that tricky Shads award for your NDIS biz, Paycat make it dead easy. They back hundreds of businesses and even help an NRL club keep their payroll running smooth. So you can run payroll yourself, or you can get the Paycat team to do it for you. Either way, you'll have more time to crack a cold one and enjoy the footy. Let's take a look at some blokes who earned their pay this week. And yes, I completely and utterly agree with you, battlers. 3 points went to our boy Jermaine McEwen. 2 points now making his club debut for the Newcastle Knights, Jake Arthur. I thought Jake Arthur, for a young guy to come in, he's been in the building for what? A little over a month. We did the swap deal. Paul Bryant's down to the Seagulls. We got Jakey Arthur in return. And what a swap it was. Like, we needed these guys in the building. We know, Tyson Gamble has been up and down of recent. We should have talked about that in the 90s. How did I miss that about Jack Cogger? And we're going to get to that, actually. How did I completely... We know Jack Cogger now and Tyson Gamble have been told they can go look elsewhere for the 2026 season. So to get a young guy like this coming in, I thought for the conditions and the context of the game that he came in, he had nothing to work with. He's had no combinations built with any of these guys to come in and do a job. I thought he had some real opportunities. I thought he had a far better game than Jack Cogger. Here I am on the public forum, publicly trying to pump our boy Cog's tires up, saying this is what we need. He was my player battle matchup. How horribly wrong. People sitting there going, Link, you're an absolute idiot, pal. Well, it's the old saying, battlers. Fortune favors the bold. Maybe I flew too close to the Jack Cogger sun. Maybe I got burnt. But you know what? Live by the sword, die by the sword. You know what I'm saying? That's what your boy Link's all about. I'm not going to shy away from that, You throw that many, something's going to stick eventually. But, yeah, look, I thought he came in. He had some really good opportunities there. Created something. He was in and around. You can't say you were watching the game and he didn't sort of impact the game at all or negatively. I thought, yeah, for a guy to come in, talk about just into the fire. We did him no favours. None of the forwards did him any favours whatsoever. Jack Cogger certainly didn't do him any favours. I just thought he was a guy who rolled up his sleeves, got through some work, and tried his absolute guts out. Let's actually take a look at Jakey Arthur's stat while we're on the subject of Jake Arthur. Obviously, the 80 minutes played there. He's got the 8 runs for 57 run meters, 15 post-contact. He's got the 1 offload, 33 tackles, only 3 missed, which was pretty good. 13 kicks for 516 meters, 3 errors. And that was something that was really pleasing. The big boot, we've missed that with, unfortunately, Tyson Gamble either not being selected or through injury or whatnot, is the big boot on Tyson Gamble. Well, Jakey Arthur was bringing that. How many times will we sit and watching some of these kicks, and they were just the same old what we've been seeing each week. And then Jakey Arthur's got quite a boot on him, clearing kicks, trying to get it somewhere away from our territory, because the Penrith Panthers were just completely and utterly dominating us in that regard. What was that crazy stat, Lou? Oh, they got it on Fox Sport. You can't get it up anywhere else but on the live. When they were saying how many tackles there were, wasn't it something like 40-odd tackles in the Penrith Panthers had inside the Knights red zone within the 20, and the Knights had like 3. It was something absolutely absurd.
I can't remember, but it was something crazy like that.
It sounded ludicrous, absolutely ludicrous, seeing it. But, watching the game, you go, it looks about right. They just had so many opportunities down there. It was long periods of time where the Newcastle Knights could barely crack into the Penrith Panthers half at all, yet alone get anywhere near the red zone to try and fire a shot at them. But I thought Jakey Arthur coming in, doing a good job. I suspect he will be coming back. And if the news of Tyson Gamble and Jack Cogger does turn out to be true, which I think it is, with them being told, look, you guys can explore options elsewhere, I think you're going to find a guy like Jake is going to be a guy they want to retain. You're probably going to get him on a cheaper deal. He is younger also. He's got that on his side. Big frame. Fuck, he's a tall dude, eh? I've sort of forgotten how big he actually is. He's a really big half, as in tall, big rangy type half. But look, in the context of the game, I thought he was really good. I saw some people dissing him a bit. I don't get what more do you want? What more do you want from the guy? As I said, he had done more. Put it this way, Jake Arthur played a far better game this week than what we saw Tyson Gamble do against the Raiders. Like, worlds apart. So you can only expect him to get better and better as he's trying to play more and more games with his team, learn the systems, all the rest of it. And he's been doing quite well in Cup as well. So he deserved the call-up. It's not like he wasn't doing anything in Cup and it was just this desperate throw. He's had really good form in Cup. Why not? Bring him in, see what you got, and he might spark something. And he did. He did get some little opportunities. I think he got the repeat sets, and he was doing a little bit of work there. So
here's a stat from Christopher. The Panthers had 113 tackles in our half, and the Knights only had 33.
That's insane. 113 tackles to 33. Yeah, it is. Absolutely. As I said, Christopher, this is such a weird game. This is why I came into this and going, you know what? I'm not going to do notes on it, because it's just, you can't pinpoint it. It was just one of those games where you had a team that just literally from the kickoff, it was just abundantly clear we were not going to be in the same league as the Panthers. And I hate saying that. I have my rose-colored glasses on all the time. And I'm always positive, but boy, oh boy, going against these guys, they should be absolute. I was really high on Canberra. And it might sound like recency bias because they just beat us, but what we witnessed the Penrith Panthers do in those conditions, as I said, pissing down rain, 60% possession to completed 80. What did I say? What was their completion? 80%? I want to get this right. 88% completion rate. Like, fuck, that is just insane.
Brenton's got a good point here. The 6 against they kept getting in our red zone was overwhelming.
Yeah, absolutely. And that just again, they're just so methodical and clinical. They just do it's just ingrained in them. That's what I was trying to say in the roster review show. You can't play them like you would, like a conventional team would. Like the Melbourne Storm could play like that because they're a well-oiled machine. They can run those block plays and and that conventional type of play against them because they got the playbook so good and they got the talent and the class to pull that off. We have not got that this year. We just don't. We've got to lean into that real ad-lib type football, chaotic football. That was the only way we were going to trouble them. And yeah, we couldn't do it. And it's just so well ingrained. As I said, when you've made 5 grand finals in a row, you've won 4 in a row, and you constantly, it's not like they got the same team that they did back in 2021 when they won their first one. You could make a second premiership team with all the players that they've lost, and they just keep bringing guys in. We know, their pathway system is just the best of the best at the moment. There is not a pathway system in rugby league football that competes with the Penrith Panthers. And yeah, look, Milky Jenkins is a prime example. You plug him out of the Penrith system, didn't he look like one of the worst wingers we'd ever signed in our life? Didn't even look like a first grader. Goes back, absolutely kills it for the Panthers. Scoring tries once more. That one he scored. I was really devastated Milky got one on us. I did not want Milky Jenkins to get a try, and for him to get that soft try, did he get 1 or 2? Fuck, I can't even remember who scored. It was just one of those games. But yeah, the Penrith Panthers, I don't want to sit here glazing them too much, but look at this for run meters, right? We'll have a look at the leading run meters. So you got Brian Toto, we all know, elite, 242 run meters for him, 232 for Dylan Edwards, 231 for Milky. So both of your wingers and your fullback have gone 230 plus run meters between them. Incredible. That's more collectively. Those 3 blokes alone ran for more than the Newcastle Knights pretty much did entirely, which is just crazy. Blaze Talungi, 172. Casey McLean, 164. IPAP, 152. Liam Martin, 132. Lindsay Smith, 110. Liam Henry, 110. Scott Sorensen, 108. Targo, 107. Leota, 101. Luke Garner, 101. So they had about 5 players that didn't manage to run over 100 run meters. They just had an absolute field day, running downhill, just absolutely complete and utter domination.
Here's another good point from Luke Sports Gaming. Said it was our 10th scoreless first half this season.
Yes, you're right. I did read that. And then isn't it our 13th? It'd be our 13th or 14th scoreless half in total, which is just incredible. It's literally every other game we're playing, there's a half of football we're not scoring, which just crazy, absolutely crazy. Now, on the flip side for us, one guy who I'm super disappointed with, even going in at halftime, and I think he had 8 run meters. Remember I was saying about Leo? He had 8 run meters in something like 20 minutes. Leo Thompson, 40 minutes played, only had 4 runs for 28 meters. That's right. You heard that right, Battlers. He was on the field for 40 minutes, only 4 runs for 28 meters. I don't know what's going on there with Leo. And I think JSAF managed a 73 off 10, so he got through a bit more work in 47 minutes, but geez Louise. Yeah, Leo really not doing a lot there. Outside backs, I think they tried their guts out. Brady Best, 100 run meters. As I said, Greggy Marzu, 220. I know it's so disheartening. And, I defend Greg all the time because you're going, you know what, we just got to learn to live. It is what it is with Greg. And it sucks, I know, and it was disappointing. We saw Brian Toto, who we're thinking is a rugby league clone of Greg Marzu, these 2 blokes, get out jumped by Brian Toto. And we're just going, it's the fine line. It's the threshold. It's the threshold for what Greg Marzu gives you to what a liability is. That's the balancing act. And it's so hard because, yes, he's a massive liability under the high ball, but on the ground, the guy still, when you're being completely and utterly dominated, he's giving you 218 run meters against the Penrith Panthers. Like, no one was even close to that. Who's second for the Newcastle Knights? Jermaine McEwen with 159. It's 160. We'll give him the extra meter. 160 for Jermaine, which is incredible. Dan Gagai with 110. So, yeah, crazy. But yeah, anyways, let's go back. My 1 point I'm going to give to Dane Gagai. I thought Dane once more, absolutely incredible. He's picked up the last 2 Titanium Forge Player of the Weeks prior to that. Again, what more do you want from the guy? Tried his guts out. The poor bastard got caught out with that 40-20 there when you just got an absolute master in Nathan Cleary just kicking 40-20s for fun. I thought Dane did his absolute best there. What he's got, 80 minutes, 18 runs for 111 run meters, 39 post contact. He's still got the 6 tackle breaks, the 1 line break assist, 9 tackles, 6 missed. Not all missed tackles are created equally, so he could have been just cleaning up shit in the back end. I can't really recall. Trying to wipe that game out of my memory, to be honest with you. But yeah, I still thought he really deserved his 1 point. And speaking to him in the press conference, and I've always been really critical about Dane Gagai being our captain, but you know what? I've done a 180 because I was asking him about the big huddle at the end of the game, and they were just talking about how, obviously now it breaks my heart. Fucking the wooden spoon is literally, whispering in our ear. Thank God the Gold Coast Titans exist, because we'd be languishing at the bottom of the ladder at this point, with the Rabbitohs getting the win. And obviously our for and against has just been completely and utterly decimated. Now, what have we conceded? Something like 90-odd points the last couple of weeks. It's just been bled dry. We were holding teams to a relatively low score, even though we were getting beaten. But, geez, these games against the big dogs, the Raiders and the Panthers, have just decimated that. But, yes, getting back to Dane Gagai, getting the group huddle in there, trying to galvanise the boys and just showing some real leadership. We need that more than ever. And that just typifies why we need to keep this guy in the building. It's times like these, because he is the guy, battlers. As only him and Jacob Saifidi are the only 2 guys that remain from that bloody dark ages from 2015 to 2017. Like, Dane went through that. If you cast your minds back, that image of Dane Gagai just inconsolable. I think he was Cullen Tarek Sims. I believe his grandmother had just passed or something like that. And we'd just been probably had our 20th flogging of the year, 2016, I'm pretty sure it was. And, that was rock bottom. I know a lot of battlers think this at the moment's rock bottom. That is rock bottom. Thank God. Like, at least we can reflect on that. At least we can, as shit as that was, where we are now certainly isn't as bad as that. But there's a guy who's been through the pits of despair playing rugby league football for a club. He should have never have left. We've gone on record numerous times. He should have always been a Newcastle Knight once he left the Broncos and just had his tenure with us. But, yeah, he's a guy that's just gluing his team together. I would hate to know where we would be right now without Dane Gagai. I think it would be far worse. Far, far worse. I know we've got some talented young guys in the building. You've got your Conavatanos, you've got your Fletcher Hunts. These guys still green and early. We need leadership, and Dane's bringing that, because Tyson's always been a guy that's, I think, led by example, but he's not like a real speaker as such. You've seen it, Lou, when he's interviewed. He's very softly spoken kind of guy, very, not commanding as way as like verbally. Certainly with his actions, he's tough as nails, and he hard running, tough football, all that stuff. But
Carly made a good point. Gags in his presser was 100% right in what he said. I prefer him over anyone in our pressers.
Yeah, he is really good. He's just not like super articulate, but just very blunt, and which is what you want. That's what
it's refreshing.
It is. There's no beating around the bush. It's exactly, just giving us what we want to hear, and I believe every word he's saying. There's no fluff with it, and I love him for it. And I take back what I said. I never thought he was going to be like captain material, but he's proven he absolutely is. And I'd hate to know where the Newcastle Knights would be in this period of time without Dane, where he is. If God, I'm not even going to say. I was going to say, heaven forbid if he gets injured. But I'm not going to say it. I'm touching wood. It's not going to happen. But yes, look, is there anything else I've missed, Lou? Is there something the battlers have brought up that maybe we should shed light on? Because I just don't know. It was just an absolute beatdown across the park. It was just, I can sit there and go, the edge defense did this, and, we're sloppy in the middle, the fifth tackle options, blah, blah. But it's just, there's no point.
Sal said Panthers had lost a number of players over the last couple of years. Just took them to the start of the season to get the team to the same page. It was always going to be a hard game, even if we have been close at the time against them. How do we get our team on the same page?
Oh, mate, the problem is, Sal, man, like, it's very hard to compare with the Panthers, because the Panthers have had Phil Gould was mocked. Everyone still people, the 5-year plan. It took a little bit longer than 5 years, but they are still bearing the fruits of the labor that Phil Gould did to that club. I keep saying it. 2015, right? 2015, the Newcastle Knights and the Penrith Panthers were in the spoon bowl. We were literally at the bottom of the barrel. We're starting from here. And in that 10 years, the Newcastle Knights went on to win 3 straight spoons. And then the Penrith Panthers have managed to feature in 5 of those grand finals of the last 10 years and win 4 of them. And it just goes to show you, having a guy like Phil Gould in the building and just fixing up all the stuff off the field, the pathways, all that stuff just sets you up so long term. So it's all that stuff. There's no quick fix. You could get Ivan in the building. Let's say you could poach all their coaching staff and bring him in. But it's just that junior development, and it's right from go to woe. When you come up as a Penrith Panther through the pathway system all the way through the first grade, it's the same philosophies. It's the same everything, and that's why when these guys come in, they just plug in and do a job. They look great. They don't let Ivan down. That's what I was saying. It wouldn't even matter what kind of bench Ivan Cleary named. He could name fucking 4 blokes from Mats, they would do a job for him. They wouldn't let him down. So it's a long-term plan. I think the Knights are on the right path. I think we can all sit there and go, I think we are, when you're seeing guys, Dylan Lucas, Fletcher Sharp, Fletcher Hunt, Jermaine McEwen, these kind of guys who, historically the Newcastle Knights, if they are a powerhouse club, the backbone of our club has always been local talent. We saw that from the mid-90s all the way into the 2000s. And then unfortunately, post-Joey era, we lost our way. The Brian Smith era happened. Club was never the same. Not only we went through the Brian Smith era, we went through the Nathan Tinkler era, and it just compounded. We're coming through the other side. West came in. They've done a great job, regardless of what you may think. As I said, coming from the dark ages, from where we were to where we are, is in a step in the right direction. But, can we do better? Absolutely we can. But I do believe we are on the right path. You got Peter Park coming in as CEO. I think he wants to do a lot of things behind the scenes. So I think we are on the right path, mate. It's just they are the blueprint, though, isn't it? They are the blueprint. And I'm sure a lot of other clubs are looking at them and trying to instill those exact same processes and systems and whatnot into their club. Because what would it just... Can you imagine being a Panther supporter? Can you imagine? That's a shout out to Flaxy. Now, I remember we bumped into him again at Magic Round at Caxton Street, and he was down the dumps. I think they were bottom 4 at that time. And I'm like, mate, what are you on about? You've just won 4 grand finals in a row. Like, let's be real. Like, if the Knights had won 4 grand finals in a row, they could win 5 straight spoons. I don't care. A team will never win 4 in a row again. It won't happen. It's just absolutely an incredible feat. And for these Panthers supporters to be down in the dumps at their team's bottom 4 in April, you're like, dude, come on, get a grip, mate. Hey, what are you doing? Talk about being a hard taskmaster. Holy dooly.
I feel like it would be like a high maintenance kind of person.
You'd have to be, right? Matt, could you only imagine we're sitting here every week? My ratings would be sky high. It is, you can only imagine. We all know what it's like when a team's riding high. 2023 was a prime example. Everyone gets on the bandwagon. There's more people there. All those fringe sort of supporters all get back into it. We know all the diehards. We're all there week in, week out. But the number inflates once your team starts going all right and putting teams away. You're on a 10-game winning tear and all the rest of it. But
high expectations, high maintenance.
Yeah, I get that. I guess you're flying high for that long. Winning's expected, but geez, you'd think you'd like to be a little bit self-aware and go, you know what? We've had 4 of the last 5 grand finals. Maybe we'll have a down year. Who cares, boys? Relax. Just go chuck on one of your 4 grand finals. Go rewatch that. Anyways. But yeah, is there anything else I've really missed? I don't want to be needlessly negative on just blatantly obvious stuff. It was just literally every metric, everything we did, they did 10 times better in every regard.
I think you've said it.
Yeah. I say it best when I say nothing at all, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
In more ways than one.
Yeah. Who was that? Who sung that again?
Rowan Keating.
Rowan Keating. Should I have come in with that instead of Every Rose Has its Thorn?
Fun story. Sorry to change the topic. I always laugh when I hear that song because a cousin of mine used that as their wedding song when they were walking down the aisle.
Which one?
You say it best when you say nothing at all.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know
Oh.
if they're still together.
Well, it's funny. When Lou and I eloped, our wedding song was "I Still Haven't Found What I'm Looking For" by
No,
U2.
it wasn't, Lincoln.
Yes, it was. Anyways, but yes, let's just try and wipe that game from our memory, battlers, as we desperately try and look to avoid the wooden spoon. Yes. Anyways, let's do it. Let's. I'm sure there's some burning questions. Let's jump into it. Burning questions brought to you by our great mates at Get Out of Life Fire Safety Training. If you work in a business, battlers, or you watch the Newcastle Knights, chances are you probably aren't prepared for an emergency. Are we right? We're right. So make sure you're prepared by contacting the fine folks at Get Out of Life Fire Safety Training for your training, plans, procedures, whatever it is you need to get your staff compliant and prepared and ready for an emergency. They are the team for you. So make sure you get in contact with them, because if you do not learn, battlers, you will burn. All right, what do we got, Lou?
Question from Matthew. Tino is on the market November 1st. How much would the Newcastle Knights give him?
Oh, Matthew, I would love Tino. I reckon, hot take, I reckon Tino is better than Payne Haas. There, I said it. I think Tino, he is phenomenal. Sucks he's a Queenslander. I'm willing to look past that, Tino. Tino would look fantastic in Knights kit. I don't know we can afford him. I think the Perth Bears are going to be throwing crazy, ridiculous money. I think he is one of the best captains you will ever get. I think, as terrible as the Gold Coast Titans are, and they are truly a terrible club, they would be even worse hadn't it been for a guy like Tino in the building. The fact, this is what sucks. The Gold Coast Titans suck, and we still have been beaten by them twice on the Gold Coast and in our own backyard. Unbelievable. Angers me so much. But, mate, I think you'll find Perth will be throwing crazy money. I've said the story before. They got all the coaches in a year or two ago and said, right, if you could start a rugby league club, so the Perth Bears are this example, who would be the first player you'd go out and get? And it's like 80% of them all said Tino. All of them said Tino. He's the guy you would build around for a club. So you can bet Mal Meninga, he's the ex-Queensland coach. Tino being a Queenslander, so there's that connection. Perth Bears throwing ridiculous money at him. The Gold Coast Titans suck. The Gold Coast Titans aren't winning a goddamn thing. Let's be real. They're just going to be one of those clubs that are just going to be constantly mediocre at best. They suck. Their supporter base sucks. The town sucks. Everything sucks about the Gold Coast. Just get rid of them. Don't like them. They've had, 4 fucking teams? Giants, Seagulls, Chargers, Titans. They all suck. Get rid of them. Punt them out of the club. Give Ipswich a team. But yes, yeah, mate. If we could afford him, absolutely. But unfortunately, mate, I think our cap space, we don't have it in there for big old Tino. But because he's going to test his market value, and he'd be crazy not to. He'd be absolutely crazy not to with a couple of new franchises coming up.
Carly's asked, when will the boys stop with the short line dropouts?
Oh, Carly. Can we please, I don't know who we got to contact. We need a bloody short dropout coach. I swear we are the worst team in the comp for short dropouts. I love you, Jake Arthur. I've given you props, but I don't know why one of those short dropouts, he went to Greg Marzu's side. You've got a guy there historically cannot jump high at all. On the other side, how many times I keep saying it, you got KPP, Fletcher Hunt, and Dom Young. Brother, just kick it there. It doesn't matter what side it is. Someone's probably going to go get it. But yeah, I can't. I'm struggling to think of another edge. We have that many vertically gifted athletes on one side, and you just can't utilize it at all in attacking football or short dropouts. We're terrible. We are terrible. I'd love to know 10 points to a battler out there who can somehow. I don't know if someone's keeping track of it. How many short dropout attempts and how many are successful? I think you could honestly count on one hand how many Knights have actually won. We're bloody shocking at them. But yes, we need to fix that up big time.
Josh has asked, are you worried for the wooden spoon? We are only 2 points off last.
Oh, Josh. I wanted to come into this year, mate, like every other year, and not even utter the words wooden spoon. But we got the Cowboys up in Townsville. They just lost a nail biter against the Parramatta Eels. Then we got the Broncos, but the Broncos they had a sniper take out Cobbo, Mann, and Reynolds in the same play. That was nice. That made my weekend a bit better. So look, they're going to be low on troops too. So is that our last game at Mac Jones Stadium? Is that right, Luke? You got the draw in front of you. Is that our last home game at McDonald Jones Stadium against the Broncos?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. We got to win.
Oh, wait. Oh, no, wait. That's NRLW. Never mind.
Yeah, it is our last one.
Yeah.
God, we have to win that Broncos one. You know, what we were saying about the Penrith Panthers have not lost a game at Mac Jones Stadium since 2015. We have not won a game at in Townsville since 2015. So no statistic goes well for us. You know, I don't feel like we got a hoodoo. Have we ever had a hoodoo anywhere? Have the Newcastle Knights ever travelled somewhere and just, oh yeah, the Knights have won here the last 8 fucking years or something? I swear that's never happened to us. It's going to be tough, man. It's just, thank God. Let's have a quick look at the draw. Who are the Titans got? Titans watch against Cronulla. Yeah, they're not going to beat Cronulla. And the Titans have the Wars. Oh, Lou, we should get down there in our Wars kit and cheer them on. They're literally playing down Saturday, Seabus Super Stadium. We should get down there and cheer on the Wars. Say, please give them the spoon. And then we've got the Broncos the very next game, and then they have the Dolphins. Oh, geez, that's a big one too. Suncorp Stadium. Dolphins massively injury ridden and just had an absolute. What did they get? 60 something points put on them that game. 4 simultaneous sin binnings. Absolutely hectic game.
That was so hectic.
Yeah. And then who have they got last round? The Tigers at Seabus again. So look, they've got a more favourable draw than we do, to be honest. I would rather their draw than ours, but yeah, I feel like if we can get one more win, I'm pretty confident. I can't see the Titans getting 2 wins. We get one, it would pretty much secure it. So let's hope and pray if it's not against the Cowboys next week, it's against the Broncos. Not only because it's excellent beating the Broncos, but just to further ourselves from the wooden spoon, mate, would make me sleep much easier at night.
Brendan's asked, if we re-sign Jacob Arthur, where does he fit into the team next year?
I reckon he'd be a 14 because I'm pretty sure, enlighten me if I'm wrong, didn't he play off the bench in the 2022 grand final for Parramatta? I think you'll have Matty Arthur. I think Matty Arthur's going to be our hooker next year. I think he'll make the jump. Hopefully we see a bit more game time for Matty Arthur coming in at 14. Because we got a bit of mail. Newey Herald put out an article. He was expected to be included in the 17, but he didn't this week, which is a bit weird. So let's hope we get some Matty Arthur game time, because finals football's out of it. Maybe it's only because we're in this weird. We can't make finals, but we're trying to avoid the spoon. So that's the juggling act. So getting back to what some of the callers were saying a couple of weeks ago about the Newcastle Knights blooding in players. Well, it's all well and good to do that, but we don't want the bloody spoon either. We don't want to just go, all right, let's just get in as many new guys as we can, lose every game, and then pick up the spoon doing so. So it's a bit of a juggling act here. So I'd like to see Matty Arthur come in, but I think if I don't know, if I had a crystal ball and all things go the way we think they are and Jake can sort of find a bit of form, who knows? He could potentially be a 14. He could be that guy come in and do a job because he's a big guy. I'd have to go back and see where he's played in other positions because he's a big-bodied kind of guy.
Tony's asked, how do the players get motivated for the last 4 games left?
Oh, brother, that spoon probably. That's got to be the big one. No team wants that shit. Let's be real. And, it does carry on into your preseason. You do want to finish strong. I know it sucks. You're kind of playing for nothing at this point in time, but let's be real. If the Newcastle Knights won their last 4 straight, as much as it would suck to go on a late season run and leave too little too late, it would be nice heading into the preseason going, well, you know what, there's something there to build on. We don't want to just, not win a game of football in the last 8 rounds or whatever. So surely that's it. The wooden spoon's got to be in the back of their minds. That's the thing they wanted to massively avoid. No team wants that. It was 20 years ago that we won our first one, 2005. So we've got 4. We don't want to go back there. We do not want to go back to those territories, mate. We all know how much it sucks getting wooden spoons. Let's give it to the Titans.
Sal's asked, have we ever had a horrible year where we can score, then come back a year after and play well?
Yes, mate.
Sorry, that should say can't score.
No, 2005, mate. I'm glad you brought this up, Sal. So 2005, when I interviewed Michael Hagan in the off-season. Now, 2005 was a terrible year. It was our club's first wooden spoon year, which I just mentioned earlier. We were terrible. Joey missing for a large portion of that game. We had a lot of off-field stuff, player movement, and Michael Hagan. He did come in 2001. He won a grand final as a young coach in his first year, which was absolutely unheard of. First to do it. And things were just systematically happening at the club and lost a lot of players. And even he said it was just one of those years. It's just everything collapsed around him. But to his credit, 2006. Now, 2006, we came and that was our last top 4 finish. That was our last time we finished top 4 was in 2006. Absolutely killed it. If you remember, we were comparing a lot to 2023 to 2006 because a lot of those records we were breaking in 2003, we set. So a lot of the records we were breaking in 2023 were records set in 2006. It was our best attacking season since that year. We were just going crazy. Yes, it has been done. We have literally, like a phoenix, mate, we've just rose from the ashes, literally from bloody dead last and wooden spoon into top 4, made finals. I think it was, I'm pretty sure it was the Melbourne Storm who went on to lose to the Broncos. I think it was a prelim. We lost to them. So we came close. It has been done. It hasn't happened in Newcastle Knights history where that has happened, mate. And obviously that was Joey's last full year before he retired the season after with that neck stuff. So, yes. So keep that in the back of your mind. It has happened. It's not like, oh, well, we shit this year. We're going to be shit next year. No, we've done it before.
Following on to that, Mike said, we've been a mediocre team at best for 20 years. When will we be a team to take seriously?
Look, mate, I know it sucks. There is good shit happening behind the scenes. As I said, I think Peter Park coming in has been a revelation. He only got here, I think it was like mid to late 2022. I think he's getting his fingerprints all over this club more so. And then when he gets into the top job of CEO, I think he'll even have a bigger impact. I think there'll be probably even less red tape. There's probably a lot of stuff that maybe he wants to do that he can't or blah, blah, blah. And now that he'll be given full autonomy of the job to go and do what, he's done. He's had success. He's been from, the Broncos who had success. He got the Cowboys to a couple of premierships, winning one of them. And they've been a pretty relevant club, you would say, over the last 15 years, the Cowboys. So look, I think the pathways is the big one, and we're all starting to see the pathways in a lot better, a much better way than what they've been, mate, since 20 years ago. As I said, that Brian Smith era was the downfall of Newcastle Knights. If they had a crystal ball, they'd go back and just go, no way, we ain't doing that. This will set us back 20 years. But I think it's coming back, mate. I think it's coming back. There's some stuff to get excited about next year. Again, we've got some big players out. You got KP out, Dill Lucas out, Razor Sharp out. More and more people, I'm sure, at this point in time are just going, you know what, Lee? We've got nothing to lose. Fuck it. I'm on the Dill Brown bandwagon. Get him in here. Let's see what he's got about him. So, there's a lot to happen. It's not like we've got our full complement and we're just going terrible. Get a couple of these guys back. Get some more combos building. Exciting guys like Matty Arthur. Who knows? Unlock Matty Arthur and Might not have an absolute gun number 9. Phoenix Crosslands, I think, get better at lock. But yeah, look, it does suck. But, we got a taste of it, didn't we, in 2023? 2023 was a little taste of, how good it can be for the Newcastle Knights. I know we only won the one finals game, but geez, what a time to be alive. That was fucking, I'll never forget that year. So good. So good.
Pangs asked, because of the injury he suffered, how do you think it will affect Fletch when he gets back on the field next year?
I think he'll be all right, dude. Yeah, I think our boy Fletch. Remind me, what was Fletcher's injury again?
Liz Frank?
Was he a Liz Frank as well? God, it's been so long. He had so many fucking injuries. I can't even remember. Let's have a quick look. Fletcher Sharp injury. What did he have again? No, because what did he have? Lacerated kidney. No, that's of course. Right. Yeah. Fucking idiot me. Yes, he had the. Oh, Sal, seriously, mate. You would think, mate, I would remember so much of this shit, but because I've got to do a deep dive and everything, I've only got so much mental capacity for so much information, and I've got to re-upload this old intel back into my brain. Look, mate, I think he'd be all right. Just plenty of rest, rehab it. I guess the good thing is it's nothing like he hasn't got like a dodgy knee or a shoulder that might give him grief. You know what I mean? Like it's not like he's had he's done an ACL. And you'll forever be wondering, there's always in the back of those players' minds the confidence. Like this is why guys like Jaden Brayley, shout out to these guys. When you have catastrophic ligament injuries, with your ACLs and your Achilles, this sort of stuff, the confidence to get back to playing that level of football, in your body is huge. Takes such a long time. So yeah, I guess that's the one good thing with a guy like Fletch. It was just one of those weird, freaky accidents that really won't hamper him long term. It's like he'll be, laboring around in kidney pain or anything like that. It's just a freak one, dude. So he'll be right. Our boy Razor will be good, mate. He'll be fit and firing for 26.
Justin's asked, do you think the Knights board will be looking at these results and the year we have had and making a decision to pay out AOB's contract? Because I don't think we'd survive another year under him.
It's weird, eh? I don't know whether it's because there's been so much other news. Because we were getting absolutely slammed, pillar of the post, and ever since the news of Kalen Ponga staying at the club has sort of squashed anything. Hey, about 3 weeks ago there, we were being annihilated in the press. It was all Adam O'Brien contract talks. There's KP going, blah, 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 blah. But that sort of seems to have stopped. It's going to be very interesting, mate. To say Peter Parr gets his feet behind the desk as of November 1st, I believe, officially. So it's going to be interesting. You'd love to know what was said in those four walls between Peter Parr and Kalen Ponga, because they tried to get it out of him, but he said no, we wouldn't talk. And you'd have to think, right? You'd have to think Adam O'Brien would have come up in that conversation. So maybe what Peter Parr said the plans were for Adam O'Brien or not may have, could that have affected Kalen Ponga's decision? Was he going to go if something was going to be done? Who knows? We'll never know. It'd be pure and utterly speculating. But I guess like what we keep saying about guys like Trey Mooney and that is where there's smoke, there's fire, isn't it? I always found it odd. The news about AOB broke mere hours before the KP situation broke, which kind of makes me feel like the club wanted to front foot the idea of it would be their idea to get rid of Adam O'Brien, not we don't really want to pay him out, but we want to keep KP happy, so we're willing to do that for KP kind of move. I think it makes the club look a little stronger having that narrative, but again, purely speculating, man. I got
Allegedly,
nothing.
Speculation.
Yeah, like I've got no one knows, dude, and I don't think we'll know. Yeah, it's going to be interesting though, mate. It's going to be very interesting which way they go.
Another one from Pang. How motivated do you think KP will be for next year? How does his leadership compare to Gags?
Oh, great question, Pang. I think he'll be more motivated than ever. He is going to have the best halves partner, like a guy in the halves, the best one he's had since Mitchell Pearce, which, Pearce, he pulled up stumps 2021. So nearly 5 seasons ago. Having a guy like Dill Brown coming, I know you guys know where I sit with Dill Brown. Some of you listening going, Link, you're fucking crazy. He's not that good. Well, I think he is that good. And there's a reason why we paid him the coin. He's going to be on. He's going to be given the keys, with Razor Sharp there. I think he's going to be massively motivated. The fact he's coming out, he's recommitted. Again, a lot of smoke around him, the rugby thing and that. Who knows? Maybe the Knights did did tell him some stuff that he needed to hear in order for him to go, okay, yeah, let's do this. We'll never know. It'd be pure speculation for me to say otherwise. But, mate, again, look, he is different. He is a different kind of cat. I think as the years are going on, we've learned more about Kalen Ponga. I think a lot of stuff that used to annoy us with Kalen Ponga, with us, him, the whole milkshake gate, now, because he's been here so long, we kind of know what we get from KP. And, he has matured a bit. I think a lot of us are sitting here thinking there's no way he's captain material. He is captain material. I think he's a very different guy on the field than he is off the field. And that's probably his great strength. He's probably a guy that doesn't sit there and watch hours and hours and hours of tape. But he's a guy that's uber competitive and, loves his time away from the game. So then when he comes back and does play football, he can give it 1,000%. Just horses for courses. What works for him, and he's won a Dally M doing it. So who are we to say what he's doing doesn't work, because it has worked, and he was the best player in the comp in 2023 after not playing for nearly half of it, which is fucking crazy. So yes, very good question, Pang.
Last one from Tompy. Bring on Vegas, and hopefully better things will come in 2026.
Amen, Tompy. Yep, 26. What a way to start it. We'll go to Vegas. Trey Mooney, all the rest of it. Dill Brand debut. Let's go. I don't think they even announced who we're playing yet.
Lincoln in Las Vegas.
Yep. Cut loose with the Battlers. It'll be good times. So, yeah, I'm with you. Good way to start it. We'll just put this year behind us. Just start strong over there. Let's do it. All right. We're talking about things to do. Make sure you're giving this live stream a big old thumbs up wherever you're watching it. That's your cue to go do that if you haven't done so already. If you're listening to this podcast thereafter, make sure you give us a big old 5-star review, Battlers. Truly. All right. You even got a bloody bit of Knighted karaoke out of it. You can go put that on repeat. Will that make him feel better or worse, you reckon? What was a worse performance? What I did at the start of the show, or what the Newcastle Knights stitched up on Friday?
Oh, sorry. Carly said we're playing Cowboys in Vegas.
Oh, they haven't announced it. Oh, there you go. We got a Vegas audition. This will be the Vegas audition. Okay, good to know, Carly. Thanks for that. I didn't think they had the draw out then. I knew they had the 4 teams announced, but I didn't know who was playing who. All right, sweet. So yes, make sure you give it a big old 5-star review wherever you're listening to this. But yes, that'll wrap up the show for tonight. Tuesday we'll be coming back to you for the roster review show as we look ahead to the Vegas audition game. Thank you, Carly, for bringing that up. As we travel up to Queensland Country Bank Stadium at Townsville, a game, no one's expecting us to win. We're in that period of time there. It's going to be another interesting show. So make sure you tune in for that one at 7:30 Tuesday. Battlers, I'm getting the Adam O'Brien out of here. I'll see you then.